This is one of those tools that once you start using it, you think, wow, I wish I'd bought one of these years ago. There, 3 connections done in almost no time at all, so much faster than soldering. Let's see what comes in the box. I'm no stranger to crimping, been doing it since I was a lad. In fact, I used to work, even when I was at school, part-time, assembling wiring looms for alarm systems, and they were all crimped. This tool is specific for Molex connectors, and this one for amp. You can get these generic tools, but as a general rule, the crimp is only as good as the tool that you are using to crimp it with, which is why you need something much more professional like this guy. Let's see what comes in the box. Inside then, no surprise, we have the terminals, an instruction leaflet and the tool itself. The interesting thing about this tool, unlike some of the other ones that I showed you, is that it is self-adjusting. It doesn't matter which size of connector you're using, it will adjust itself accordingly. There is an adjustment on there if you need to increase the pressure at some point. The tool itself looks very neat and well made. It's nice and heavy. It says on it here 0.25 to 10 millimeters squared for the size of wire, and that translates to 23 to 7 AWG. As I mentioned, the adjustment there, as you can see the square arrangement there, and inside you can see the serrations that provide the crimping. Very neat indeed. Let's see it in action. When we look at this device from a distance, there probably doesn't appear to be anything untoward or a problem. As we get closer, perhaps you can see what the issue is going to be, and if we look really close up, it's obvious that there are strands of the copper wire which are sticking out and are going to short circuit, causing us a big problem. That is one reason for crimping connectors on. It's a much neater and safer method. Another thing you can do, of course, is to solder the ends of the wires to stop that problem. Out in the field, as I have been, halfway up a mountain trying to install a solar panel, soldering is not always an option. Let's get this sorted. It's important to know the size of the wire to be able to choose the correct connector, and there's a very handy guide in the top of the lid there. Also, as I'm in Europe and this is based on the American wire gauge, it's useful to have a chart like this where you can work out from the cross-sectional area of the cable which is the appropriate wire gauge terminal to use. As always, links down into the description where you can get a copy of this. For this size wire, it turns out to be around 14 AWG. That should work for the blue connector. A good check to see if you've got the right size of connector is that it fits snugly in with the insulation dotted up against the end of the connector there. Now we can simply go ahead and crimp that on. And now our connections are safe and secure. Good job. Let's see some other applications. We started off at the beginning with the very smallest, the 22 AWG connector. We're going to finish with the largest, which is 7 AWG or 10 millimeter square. I mentioned solar panels. This is an old solar panel controller, and that will fit just nicely into there. If you've got a nice thick cable for the battery connections, for example, then that will go in there nicely. Something you will also find is that you need to join more than one wire. So we can twist a pair of wires together. It's a two-handed job for the big connector there, but that's made a really firm connection there. I can't pull that off. Once that is inserted in there, once again, it makes a really neat and strong connection. One final observation is that it says that these connections are copper, and I was a little skeptical about that, so I took my file to it. I suspected it might be just some cheapo alloy, but it is in fact copper, as I could see under the microscope. As I said right at the beginning, this is one of those tools that once you start to use it, you think, well, I should have bought one years ago, and I haven't changed my opinion. I think it's a really handy addition to the toolbox, and my thanks go to Tiffany at mm² Technologies for sending me this for review. Thanks for watching.